welcome to Relish. I'm Alli. I'm a nutritionist, a yoga teacher, author of the smoothie book, and I'm here to talk to you every week about nutrition topics. This week is all about spinach. I'm super excited. I always think of my friend Amanda. She always orders spinach when we go out to eat, so I'm thinking of her today. Okay, so we're going to talk about what spinach is, some general information, some history behind spinach, health benefits, cuisines that you find spinach in, and then we're going to make a recipe for spinach walnut pesto. Super excited to be having that tonight for dinner. So, welcome to the show. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the chat. I love having a conversation during the show. I'm actually going to move my chat. I have the chat on the table below, but now I can see it a little bit better. Okay, so there we go. Please join in on the conversation if you have things to talk about spinach. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, what is spinach? Spinach is a leafy, green, flowering plant that's native to Central and Western Asia. The leaves are a commonly eaten vegetable, as we all know. We eat them fresh, we eat them in a processed version like canned, we eat them frozen, we eat them in smoothies, all kinds of different ways. We eat them raw, we eat them cooked. So many different ways to eat spinach. And it belongs to the amaranth family, which I did not know. So it's related to beets, it's related to quinoa. So that kind of makes sense. Those are all kind of earthy flavored vegetables and grains. And I would say spinach is very earthy flavored as well. So spinach, we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but it is high in oxalates, which are naturally occurring compounds in a lot of different foods. And they can contribute to the formation of kidney stones. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later, and may help or may deter us from absorbing some of the nutrients. But there is good news. We can reduce the amount of oxalates in spinach by cooking it, most particularly steaming or boiling it. So that's kind of just the short information on it, but that is something to keep in mind. True spinach grows best in cooler temperatures like spring and fall, but sometimes that can extend into summer and winter. So it could actually be that it grows all year round, but I think it thrives in spring and fall. So it would be great here in the Northwest because we have fairly mild temperatures. Okay, so let's see. No comments yet. Okay, I was just checking the chat. Okay, so history and general information about spinach. Spinach is thought to have originated about 2,000 years ago in ancient Persia, and it was then introduced to India and ancient China through Nepal in 647 AD, and it was known as the Persian vegetable. The first written evidence of spinach in the Mediterranean region was found in three different written works in the 10th century. So, a while ago. Spinach became a very popular vegetable in the Arab Mediterranean and arrived in Spain by the end of the 12th century. And it's mentioned in the first known English cookbook called Forme de Curie, and that was in 1390, so that was a while ago as well. It was referred to as spinach and spinochus. During World War I, wine was fortified with spinach juice to help injured French soldiers and to help stop their bleeding. So I thought that was interesting. The comics and cartoon character Popeye, the Sailor Man, always is portraying Popeye having canned spinach and how it makes him stronger. And I found out that in the early days of Popeye advertising spinach, he talks about how it's the vitamin A that makes him strong. Interesting, because now I feel like we talk more about how it's the iron and all this other stuff. But for what it's worth, Popeye's always eating spinach. Probably to get kids to eat spinach too. Okay, so what different cuisines feature spinach? There are a lot. I found a lot. I'm sure I'm missing some. These are the main ones I found. Okay, so Greek cuisine features spinach. Spanakopita, you know, when spinach is cooked and then it's mixed with a cheese, sometimes like feta, and some spices and herbs, and then rolled in puff pastry and then cooked. Love spanakopita. Might have to make that soon. That sounds really good. There's another Greek dish called spanakorizo, and this sounds really good. It is a creamy rice and spinach dish. I would love to try that. I'm gonna have to look up some recipes for that. Indian foods features spinach. One of my favorite dishes is saag paneer, which is a very spiced spinach / other greens mixture that's cooked down for a really long time, and then they add paneer cheese, which if you haven't seen my episode on dairy, on milk, I make homemade paneer. It's delicious and really good with saag paneer. Okay, Persian food. There is a Persian dish called borani, and that is yogurt topped with cooked spinach, topped with fried onions and walnuts. Great combo. Sounds really good. French cuisine, anything in French that refers to it being Florentine means that it has spinach and a protein and a Mornay sauce, which is like a creamy cheese sauce. So if you order something and it's like chicken Florentine or omelet Florentine or eggs Florentine or pizza Florentine, it usually will have spinach in it. Italian food, lots of noodles are stuffed with spinach. Thai food, stir-fried spinach with garlic and peanuts is a dish. Japanese, there's a Japanese salad, ohitashi, which is a spinach salad. And it's cooked spinach with sesame seeds and other flavorings. Really, really good. I see it a lot of times at sushi restaurants. I personally don't really eat sushi, and so when I do go to a sushi restaurant, I always get that because I know it's going to be good and it's vegetables. And Chinese cuisine, stir-fried spinach with garlic. So kind of a big variety of different dishes with spinach. Here in the US, we put, spinach salad, pizza with spinach. My parents eat pizza with spinach a lot. It's delicious. All kinds of ways to have spinach. So those are the cuisines. Health information. I've got a lot to share, so I have some small points, and then I'm going to tell you 4 main points on health information and spinach. Okay, so 2 cups of spinach. This is 4 cups of spinach. So half of that has, I did a little analysis, has 14 calories, pretty low in calories, 335 milligrams of potassium, which is 10% of your daily needs of potassium, 1.3 grams of fiber, 11.3% of our daily needs of vitamin A, 28% of our daily needs of vitamin C, almost 5% of our daily needs of calcium, and 9% of our daily needs of iron, which is a lot for a vegetable or something that's not meat. So that's a good source of iron. We're going to talk about the bioavailability of that iron in a little bit. So raw spinach is about 91% water, so a lot of water, 4% carbs, 3% protein, so it has more protein than I thought, and negligible amounts of fat. It's a rich source, so I talked about this a little bit already, but it's a rich source, which means it's 20% or more of our daily needs of vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin K, magnesium, manganese, iron, and folate. So that must mean, that analysis is from something different, so that must mean a larger volume of spinach than 2 cups. It's a moderate source, which means it's between 10 and 19% of the daily values of vitamin B, riboflavin, vitamin B6, vitamin E, calcium, potassium, and fiber. So while spinach is a good source of iron and calcium, unfortunately, we eat spinach raw a lot. And if you eat it raw, the oxalates in the spinach are most likely they're going to interfere and make it make us not able to absorb the iron and calcium as we like. So the way to get around that is cooking the spinach. It's very important if you want to absorb the iron and calcium that we cook the spinach. So we will discuss those ways. There's a study done on how to do it coming soon in this discussion. Okay, let me see. Okay, just checking in on our chat. I'm going to take a quick drink. I'm drinking raspberry leaf tea. I think I drank that last week too. So good. Okay, I have to say that my kitchen smells so good because I have cut 2 cloves of garlic for this pesto, and it's sitting right here next to me, and it smells so good. Okay, so 4 pieces of health information. Number 1, spinach is a good source of quercetin, which is a phytochemical. We talked about this before, but I'm going to review it so that we all remember why quercetin is good. Quercetin adds color and pigment to fruits and vegetables, and it's an antioxidant. We know antioxidants are good for us. And spinach, the green color, comes from that quercetin. It may be good for our heart health because it could help lower our blood pressure and it could help lower our cholesterol. And it may reduce inflammation and help with blood circulation, which is good for circulation in general, good for our heart, and good for our brain health. Excuse me. Number 2. Spinach is good for our eyes. So it's a good source of lutein and zeaxanthin, which are carotenoids in the vitamin A family. These are important for our eye health and may help reduce our risk of developing macular degeneration, which is an eye issue that you could get. And let's see, number 3. This is the big one. Spinach is a good source of iron and calcium. We've discussed that. I'm going to talk about why iron and calcium are important. So iron is a mineral that the body needs for growth and development. Very important. Your body uses iron to make hemoglobin, which is a protein in the red blood cells that carries oxygen from the lungs to all parts of the body. And also myoglobin, which is a protein that gives oxygen to muscles. So very important. Our body also needs iron to make some of our hormones. And then calcium, we know it's very important for healthy bones, strong bones. Our heart, muscles, and nerves also need calcium to function properly. And some studies suggest that calcium and vitamin D may benefit us beyond bone health. So important to get our calcium and vitamin D. So we will absorb more iron and calcium from our spinach if we cook the spinach because of the oxalic acid, the oxalates. Those block our ability to absorb. So very important if we want to do that we cook our spinach. There was a study, so this is a study I was talking about, that found that cooking spinach quickly in boiling water and then plunging it into cold water reduced the oxalate content by 40% in the spinach on average. So, and that was more effective than cooking it in a pan or pressure cooking the spinach. So just something to keep in mind, that method is the most effective in removing or reducing the amount of oxalates, the oxalic acid. Number 4. Spinach is a great source of fiber. We know fiber is good for our digestion, helps move things through our body, and keeps our digestive system healthy. Okay, what are the types of spinach? So I found there are 3 main types of spinach that we consume regularly. There's Savoy, which is a crinkly looking spinach. It almost looks like the kale, the dinosaur kale or the lacinato kale. So it's kind of crinkly looking and it's very sturdy and it handles cold well, which makes sense because the kale does too. Then there's the semi-Savoy, which is more upright. Gardeners love this kind of spinach because it is resistant to disease and bolting. It's easy to wash, it's less crinkled. And then there is the smooth-leafed spinach, which, as it sounds, is smooth-leafed. So I'm guessing that this is smooth-leaf spinach. This is baby spinach, the kind you get in the bag. And that oftentimes is what they use to make canned and frozen spinach. So are there risks in eating spinach? Well, two main risk factors. So one is, we talked about, if you are prone to kidney stones, the oxalates and the calcium in it may make kidney stones occur more frequently. So just talk to your doctor about how much spinach you can consume if you are prone to kidney stones. And also, because spinach is a good source of vitamin K, if you take blood thinners, it's important to talk to your doctor about how much spinach you have, because the spinach may interfere with the blood thinning effects of the medications. So important to talk to your doctor about that too. What's the best way to store spinach? All the research I found is if you're buying like a bunch, like the bunched fresh spinach, chop off the stems, wash the spinach, dry it really well, layer it in paper towels, and keep those paper towels in a bag or in a container in the refrigerator. Or if you buy the baby spinach or spinach that's already in a bag, I think it's okay to just keep it in the bag or in those big tubs, those big containers. That should be fine too. So that's the story on spinach. Shall we make a recipe? Spinach walnut pesto. You can find this on relish.com. It's actually a relish recipe. So, very simple. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ingredients. Super simple to put together. I'm gonna put it together now. We're gonna have it for our dinner. Really excited about that because we love pesto in our house. Okay, so I'm gonna move this chair. We're gonna make some spinach walnut pesto. Okay, so we're gonna start off with 4 cups of spinach, which feels like a lot. Here we go. But it really, once we start blending it together, it really gets chopped up and it's not as much as you think. Whoopsies. We've got flyaway spinach over here. Okay, so we have, this is taking me longer to put in the bowl than I thought. Okay, so I'm gonna keep that there so I can stack everything else in there. 4 cups of spinach, a half a cup of fresh basil. I have to say that I went to get fresh basil today and they only had the basil plants, which that is what is behind me right there, is the basil plant. So that's what this is. It says a half a cup. I'm gonna do about a cup because I like the basil-y flavor in pesto. Okay, there we go. Now I will put this aside. Okay, so I'm gonna crunch this. I'm using the food processor. You can use a blender, you can use a hand blender, whatever works for you. This is kind of the best version for me. Okay, then 2 garlic cloves. These are huge cloves that we have. We love garlic here, so I wish you could smell that through the video because it smells so good. Okay, 2 cloves garlic and 1/3 of a cup of walnuts. 1/3 of a cup. We eat a lot of walnuts in our house, so we always have those on hand. Okay, and you can use any nuts though. Pine nuts is the traditional. I've used walnuts, I've used cashews, I've used almonds, so you can use any of those. We did the spinach, 1/3 of a cup of freshly grated Parmesan. There we go. We had Parmesan recently at our house, so we had a little bit left. And then we added our, oh yes, we had Chicago style pizza at our house. if you follow me on Instagram, you saw the Chicago style pizza. So good. Okay, and 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. I'm just gonna eyeball it with the salt grinder. Always add some later when you're eating it. Okay, now I like to start blending it. I'm gonna move this back so you can see it. There we go. I like to start blending it first without the oil. Here we go. Oh boy. I've got to, let's see. There we go. I'm using a new extension cord. Okay, that's looking good. Okay, now, so I just pulsed it, and it reduced the spinach from all the way up here to all the way down here. It just makes it a lot easier to blend. And then I'm going to take this out. I'm going to keep blending it, and then I'm going to add the oil. We're using 1/4 cup. Probably put more than 1/4 of a cup, but that's okay because we like our pesto oily. We want it to have a lot of moisture in it, and I'm just pushing down the sides because little bits get up there, and we want this as smooth as possible. Okay. Looking good. Oh boy. This smells so delicious. Okay. I'm gonna put that there. Doesn't that look so good? And it smells really good. And it's really good. If you have the time, make it a little bit in advance from when you're gonna eat it so that the flavors can really blend together nicely. I made it, it's about 2 o'clock. We'll probably eat dinner in about 4 hours. It's gonna be delicious. Delicious, delicious. So, there we go. We've got our pesto. We make a lot of pesto at our house, especially in the summer, because we always have basil and we always have kale. So I make kale basil pesto a lot. Okay, well that's kind of it for today. Big talks on spinach. We love spinach here. It's native to Persia, the Persian area. Lots of different cuisines that feature spinach. Greek, Indian, Thai, Japanese, Chinese, French, Italian, Persian, Indian. Did I say that? So yeah, lots of different dishes. One dish I want to try is that Greek Spinach chorizo, which is a creamy rice and spinach dish. Sounds really good. Spinach is a good source of iron, calcium, vitamin C, vitamin A, fiber, so many things. Best way to get all those vitamins and minerals is to cook your spinach. The best version would be to boil it to get the oxalates out. If you are prone to kidney stones, talk to your doctor about how much spinach you can eat. If you take warfarin or other blood thinners, talk to your doctor about how much spinach you can eat. And otherwise, so many great recipes. There are a lot of recipes on relish.com with spinach in it, so check it out. This one is called Spinach Walnut Pesto. Really, really good. If you're allergic to nuts, you can use pine nuts, because I think that's technically not a nut. Gotta check on that one though. But I think that's the case. But check. Okay, so have a great rest of your day. Thanks for joining in on the show, and I'll see you next time. Happy pesto making!